Hello, 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 welcome. Let's yeah, get right into it. Today I want to look at our buffers that we use for the terrain. Specifically there are a couple of buffers that are temporary that we don't really need, and I would not want to basically keep a reference to them, if that makes sense. So for example, if we go to the terrain system, there are those buffers that I already marked as temporary, which we only need for like the frame where we generate the terrain, and afterwards we don't really need them anymore, and they could be reused for some other stuff that's temporary, right? So the idea would be to basically make those basically a ring buffer kind of structure inside the graphics API. You can request one and you get a region from a global buffer basically. We don't really have that yet, but I think it should be fairly simple to add ish. The first approach that I would try is... Oh, we still have the trace stuff here. How did that work again? Oh, because we include Tracy here. Probably not ideal. Let's remove that again. Although I will probably save that somewhere. New text file. Save as Tracy CPP. And let's save it on the desktop for now. I don't know. Cool. So then I think I can get rid of that. Is that everything? Yeah, okay. And then here. And no, not that one. That one. God damn it. I had to go to the header. Let's see where that fails. That will probably fail in a couple of places. No. Yeah. Let's actually save that as well. Save as on the desktop. Tracy CMD buffer. We'll probably add that back in 0.5 when we do the polishing. Cool. Do I need to have... Where is Tracy? Is that not a... why am I in graphics API? Okay, not here. Probably here, yeah. So I'm mostly removing that so that I can then submit nicely again. Awesome. Good. And then let's see. So we want to go to graphics API Vulkan. And I'm not sure. Maybe I want the manager for that. But for now, let's just do a buffer handle. Ring buffer. And we need per frame, so in place array that one for max frames in flight. Like that. Move to separate class. Maybe, right? Basically then we go here. And after initializing, probably even here, right? Why not here in Bindless, but yeah, I think we can already do it here. So basically we go to the terrain system. We do one of those more or less. Temp frame buffers. And we just do GPU access, right? Frame buffer. Transient buffer, and then let's do 0 for now. And how big do we make it? So that's the question, right? So what's the biggest one that we want? So node count. is 1 million. So what's 5 MB, right? Something like that, maybe. That might not even be big enough, right? But let's see. We could try that. It's like 1 shifted by 24, I think. Okay, 1 shifted by 23. Yeah. That should be 8 megabytes, which is quite a lot, I would say, for the temporary buffers, but let's see. Indirect. And we probably want conditioner. Is that everything? So device. Yeah, I don't think we want uniforms necessarily. Yeah, that could work. And then we basically do for U32i equals 0, I equals max frames in flight plus I. Now we create a buffer into the M bring buffer at I with the temp frame buffer create info. This one we do a format like that. And that should do the trick, or we could do a U8 here. Is that how you would want it? Yeah. Which anyways is kinda useless. Alright. Now the question is volume, well, graphics API. .h is void get transient buffer. And we basically get the buffer handle like that. And we probably only say the size. And maybe the usage flags. I mean, maybe we give it buffer properties, I don't know. Do I need... I think I need frame buffer in like the frame index as well. And then basically ring buffer, add frame index. We sub-allocate here from that. And we will try to find out how to do that, because I have no idea, because I have not done that yet ever in Vulkan. First we go here, we write here a virtual function again. And implement that as 0. Now we do the same here, create buffer and get transient buffer. You don't give it the frame index because that's implicit. Now we do return graphics API. Get transient buffer. Alright, so then we need to Google a little bit, because as I said, I've never done that. Vulkan sub-allocate buffer. Wait, maybe with VMA. Okay, that's images, so we don't really care about that. Maybe I can just give out the device address like that, I don't know. But Can I not work on memory allocator sub allocate buffer? Is that not a thing, or does the AI say garbage as usual? What the hell? Let's read that. Exactly. Buffer offset usage. Do I just? But how do I do that? Nah. Do we have an example here? But mapping function is not really what I want. Vulkan device address. So, like, sub allocate again. Can I do that? Is the question. Memory. Device memory. Get memory range. VMA allocate. Would I do that? Creates a new VK buffer binds already created memory for it. What does that do? I mean, that maybe works, right? With an allocation offset. But do I even need that is the question. Can't I maybe just... Let's try something else. Let's try something very stupid for now. So let's go to graphics API. And we go to transient buffer. And we get that. We get the GPU address of that one. And then we do graphics API here. Current ring buffer used or size, it doesn't matter. And then we say return GPU address start. Where we build a new buffer handle basically. How can I set that? Where is that set actually? Oh, okay. Let's disregard that for now. I mean, maybe we would want to have an alias, I don't know. I would probably make it easier. Let's see. Buffer handle. Ring buffer. Alias with properties. I think texture has that already, right? Or is it texture storage? Where is the alias? Isn't it texture storage? Yeah, kind of. Alright. Basically, buffer has an alias as well, probably. Okay, maybe not. But we could add it. The texture storage returns something with the alias. Yeah, it does. Or maybe we just... Now let's keep what we had in mind. Then we would handle that a little different though. Or the transient one actually only returns a U64. Which is actually just the GPU address. That one plus while that plus our current ring buffer size, and then ring buffer size plus equals properties dot size. That has to be smaller. Maybe. And I think at that point we are kind of locked into Vulkan, to be honest. Because I'm not sure if we can do the same thing with another API, but it's fine. I don't mind being Vulkan only. But now I'm curious, so basically this one we need to reset every frame. So begin frame. Yeah. We need to reset that to 0. And then let's go to terrain, volume terrain system. And we basically say here get transient buffer. And with that, or sorry, not that one. Those ones here, so this one. All of those come a U64. Get transient buffer. Will that work? Oh, but that doesn't work then. The barrier stuff doesn't work. Okay, so maybe commando reverse. And we need to actually alias that whole thing. So basically you get transient buffer that that work? Oh wait, actually, hold on, maybe... Doesn't have... Yeah, that has an offset and a size. So that would actually work. Hold on, actually... We can do that. We just need to make a couple of adjustments, probably. So probably we want to return a buffer handle here and here. And here. And here. And what we want to do is basically a ring buffer alias based on those properties. And then let's assume that this returns already a buffer handle. Not sure if that can be cons, to be honest. I don't think so. Let's do that for now, and then buffer in work on we do the same. Just here as an override. Texture storage. Wrong one. God damn it. We don't really have a maximum alias. The thing is, we might not even need to do anything here. So basically what we want to do is if API... Do I have the API here? No. Then let's just assume that we have this here. only used if device address is not supported. Yeah. Oh. Alright, so then here what we do is basically place back the new offset. Is there not a STD sum? There is, right? STD accumulate, yeah. No? There not one? No. Hear anything anymore? Oh. Did I change my auto device or something like that? What the? What the hell? Oh, I have something again. Cool. Whatever that was. Alright. Is that the really only way to do it? What does that do? What does partial sum mean? Why is it? I mean, I can just do it manually, but it would be nice to just do it. Does it work? No. Ah, whatever. Let's do a normal one. Elias info. Info.size. Alright. And then have the offset, the size, and another pointer here. And then we return Elias's size -1. And that is basically the index. Then when we do a barrier, basically need to provide that additional info with it. Offset U32 size. That is basically that. Barrier. Perfect. I mean, we can only do that here, to be honest. The other one has that tracking for regions. It's basically something that we might need, but all right. Basically that. All right. And let's go back to graphics API. Basically we do that. Now we say Onyx U8 Elias is ring buffer. Elias return a new buffer handle with an alias. And the ring buffer. And basically we need a buffer handle here. Now let's remove that buffer handle. And now we will die in a ton of places. But actually what we will do is U64 get GPU address. We already will do the easiest one. But yeah, then why is that happening? I have really no idea. How is that even? Whatever. Let's not question that. Let's just add all of those for now. Realistically, we don't use them anyways like that in the future, but it's fine. Nice. Hello, hello, boy. Do you by chance but that's more a question. How do I say that? General question. Do you know how to do stuff in Blender or Maya or whatever? Like 3D kind of stuff? I would assume you do, right? Ah, okay, cool. Nah, I'm thinking of getting some models, but it's like very, very simple things for the editor. And I was thinking of Fiverr or maybe asking around. I'm willing to pay, so that's not the thing. It's just not sure when I want it. Probably it will still need a little bit more time, but there's a couple of things that I would want for the editor where I need some meshes. So there was one proprietary engine, I'm not sure if I am allowed to say, which did something very nice. So let me open Unity because I think that is, let's see if it's faster than Unreal. And then I can show you. It's not Unreal. Unreal does it. Unreal and Unity do it different, but I can show the concept of it, and then you will instantly understand. But yeah, I kind of liked what that proprietary engine did for that. It's about the the icons for light sources and cameras. They didn't use 2D icons, they had like meshes. And the benefit of that was, for example, for a spotlight, the mesh was slightly rotated already in the direction of where it's facing. So for example, this camera, right? It's facing down here. So what, I mean here, yeah, no, it's a billboard, right? So that's weird. But for the engine that, in the proprietary engine, this was a mesh and it was facing exactly down the forward vector. So if you rotated that, the mesh rotated with it. And I kind of liked the approach because it, so instead of using icons, they used like meshes for those. And for the camera, that makes sense. And for like spotlights, spotlight and directional lights, it kind of makes it worse. And I mean, Unity does it kind of, right? With the debug renderer here of the whatever cone that is. But yeah, something like that. Looking for something like that. Yeah, exactly. It's even plain meshes that would be white, for example. Don't need any UVs. But yeah, I'm not sure when I want to add them because it will need some time for me to add them as well. So currently I'm busy with the terrain. But yeah, it's something very simple. But I have absolutely no knowledge of how to do that, to be honest. I mean, I could probably look it up and do it myself, but as I said, I'm not against like paying someone to do it. The hell? Oh, is it? Oh, okay, that one is as well weird. Let's talk about that no payment when it's happening, when I will ask you. I don't really feel comfortable not like rewarding someone for their work, but we can fight over that later. Yeah, sure, you can. Don't worry, you can ask anytime. Do I need to get water? Ah, that's already quite old. I think I will get new water in a second. Bind. Okay, so there is a buffer handle, never mind. So first I want to get it running again and then we will do the alias thing. Okay. Why shouldn't that? Oh wait, it's like that now, right? So it's like this, yeah. I have an offline folder for our game project containing all sorts of ZBrush, Blender. I mean, it depends a little bit of how big you're talking about. So I think there is a size limit on Git, or at least on GitHub. Let me find that GitHub size limit. I think it's 2 megabyte, or was it 2 gigabytes? I'm not sure. Okay, it's 2 gigabytes. So if your file is bigger than that, it will not allow you to submit it, which might be a problem for ZBrush or Blender files, depending on the size of your meshes, right? So you have to keep that in mind. Oh, well, that's the large file storage, sorry. I think it's even smaller for normal files. Yeah, exactly. GitHub blocks anything that's bigger than 100 megabytes. That was it. Everything above 100 megabytes, which you will get quite easily with a ZBrush or Blender file, you need to use then Git LFS, which works. It's just you need to be aware of that. It's pretty straightforward to set that up. But yeah, I think you have only a limited amount of storage in that as well. Yeah, I mean, You could look up how to do that git LFS. It's really not that hard to set up. And yeah, I'm not sure if there is a maximum storage that you get. If it somehow, if GitHub only says you have like 50 gigabytes or something like that of LFS storage, I have no idea. Ah, here. It's probably here. Okay, you get 10 gigs and bandwidth 10 gigs. I mean, 10 gigs is not that much, right? The bandwidth resets like every month, so it's like up and download, you can do that much. But that one stays, so you only have like 10 gigs of storage. Unless you pay GitHub. Which I'm not sure how many models you have and how much data you have, if 10 gigs is too little. But yeah, that's something I need to figure out myself as well, where to store it. Like once we are at the point where we can start actually with the game. We're still on the core of the engine to get the game stuff running, but I mean, so far I store everything in Git, right? But I don't really have any real assets yet, or like any big assets. But to be fair, I'm thinking of probably setting up a Git server on my local server. And then I don't have that size limit, right? But at that point you are basically the same as you do with like local backups, right? Because it's not anywhere stored anymore. Oh, let's actually do... Nah, let's do that. Okay, so let's see where we are. Still in not compiling land. Buffer. Maybe in 0.5. You can't even see it on the stream, but on the black bot back there, there's a scheduler bar. Maybe on 0.5 we look at the frame graph and moving everything to the GPU addresses. Yeah, sure. I mean, we share the cakes one, so that's fine. Cool. Enjoy your coffee. Coffee is always nice. Hello. Or if you say bye, then bye to Lord Boy from you as well. But hello, GD Bobby. No, actually, that's not what I wanted. I wanted this and this. I mean, it depends what you see is, I would say, as finished. I would say. Let's see if it actually starts now. Or kinda. Well, let's say we kind of finished it. I mean, we are pretty close to finish it. I think they will never be finished because I won't always find stuff that I can do. But we are pretty close to finishing it, like the first version. Why do you not work? Volume, terrain system. Oh wait, maybe because... Okay, so we get that. Oh, but the GPU address is probably wrong, so that's one thing, right? If... Let's do that. Oh, wait. Ah, that sucks. Okay. I see. I guess what we need is when we alias. And when we return this one here. We want to as well. Oh, but that kind of sucks. No, I did not actually see that. Enshrouded. Mm-hmm. They use voxels, really? I mean, that would be cool. Didn't know that. You have a video, maybe? Where you know where they show it? Is that really voxel, though? I mean, maybe, let's see. Did I just... Thank you. I haven't seen anything good on it. Okay, I see. Okay, maybe it is voxels. It just doesn't look like it. But I mean, mine doesn't either, right? So I guess that's a good sign. I'm not sure how much I will go into tessellation. Because usually that's like a different thing, and you usually don't need that when you have voxels. So maybe they just named it tessellate so that it makes more sense for the users, because they know, like, tessellation is kind of a known word by now, so it's easier to explain it like that. But yeah, no, I'm not sure. I will probably not. So the thing is that we already tested. Yeah, that's maybe true as well, I guess. Let me get that up and running, and then I can show you how far we are. But the thing is that basically it's kind of there already, and we have already quite a huge amount of detail. Get alias offset. Add alias offset. If alias is minus, is invalid, then we return 0. Let's do that. Does that work? It should probably work, but let's make it nicer. It's a little bit of a hack for now, but it's fine. So basically my resolution currently is already 10 centimeters. I already tried it with less than that. I think we went down to 5 centimeters resolution for the voxels, which is quite insane how small they are then. And the world size is 64 kilometers currently. So if you imagine 64 kilometers and our resolution is 5 centimeters, you can see how much detail you might get into that. And at that point, I don't think you need tessellation anymore. I can explain you that, but it will take some time, but I don't mind. But first I want to get it running, but yeah. Does it work is the question. So that works again. My buffers are not there. Do the buffers work here is the question. That looks fine. And we go here. Elias. Why is the size 5? Oh no, they are separate sizes. So I think it will take longer to get that running, so I can explain it. So what I do is, in a nutshell, how do I best describe that? I have 2 layers, let's put it that way. So first I have a world-sized octree. And that one is 64 kilometers. It can be anything else, but for now it's 64 kilometers. And then we subdivide that up to level 10. And level 10 is then, I think 64... No, what was it? I think it's 64,000 divided by half, and then divided by half. I think it's 1000 or something like that. So like the smallest cell in the octree I think was 1000. So I think here it was then 1 kilometer for one of those boxes. And then one of those gets subdivided again by up to 10. So we have that chunk system here basically already on the outer level. And then this is a separate octree. And that one goes down basically infinite. But up to the min resolution of like the voxel, which is 10 centimeters, right? It's I think technically you could say it's a child tree, yeah. It's not really a separate tree. It's just that the basically if we don't subdivide here a node, so if we have, because we always only do it around the camera, right? So this is bigger, let's say, than this 1 kilometer one. So that's like 2 kilometers. Then that will be a chunk, right? Because we don't need to subdivide that further at that point. And then this will be one chunk. And the smallest chunk that we store is 64 meters. So a chunk can be either 64 meters up to, in theory, half the size of the octree, so 32,000. Or like 32 kilometers. The chunks vary in size between that and the 32k, because I don't think we will ever have anything, and probably we don't have chunks that big, but 16,000 probably. That's the fun thing, I don't store anything per voxel, but that might bite me in the ass later. Let's see. Half a bit for voxel. Okay, well, I don't really store anything currently. The only thing I store is occupancy, which nodes we basically have in the octree, which is basically only 1 bit. So yeah, that's more than half a bit. And then I just iterate over those and sample the volume based on the corners of the allocated octree nodes. So if you go to the shader here in generate volume, we basically get a list of surface requests. A surface request is basically an octree node, and the octree node has a size, right, based on the Morton code. Not sure if you know what a Morton code is. If you don't, let me know, then I can explain it. But it's basically a set curve, so the index is stored bit interleaved. So you have x on position 0, y on position Morton code. It basically interleaves the stuff. So you can see it here. That's a good example. So that would be an octree node, right? And the Morton index is basically you. Those are the bytes, the bits, and the x, like that's the z coordinate now, is on position 0 of the bits. The y coordinate is in position 1, and the the x coordinate in this case is on the 3rd position. And that way you can store x, y, z positions interleaved in like one uint64 up to a depth of 20, because then you run out of bits, right? Because 20 times 3 is 60, and then you don't have space anymore for more to fit inside a 64-bit integer. But 20 levels of octree are quite a lot, so we are already talking about billions of nodes in that case, so we will never reach that usually. Yeah. Quite a lot of thinking went into that. But why are my buffers not working? Worst case, that's the thing, yeah. Like if you do a fully subdivided tree, that would be the worst case, yes. But usually you have like areas that are less subdivided, areas that are more subdivided, right? And like an LOD system, further away from the camera, I'm not subdividing that much, because it's not needed. Why would that not work though? So the ring buffer here, we get that. So that's fine, and then this is index 0, which is fine as well. Then we go in here. Okay. Why would that not work? We have storage, indirect device address as the usage flags. Shouldn't that be good enough already? Storage device indirect conditioner. And then writable. We have writable as well. I mean, maybe we do writable. Do we do that in the terrain system? Not really. I'm wondering if maybe the GPU address stuff doesn't work like that. Let's see if we do just one for now. None here. Which one would we want to do in the... Let's do the surface request, just transient. The other ones we do Earth create buffers again. Okay, that works. That doesn't mean a lot. But yeah, I mean, you can see, wait, let me do that. Light source, bring it to 0, 0. So what we have here is, so yeah, basically the word is like huge. It's like 64 kilometers in all directions, even up and down. And then here at the 0 point, currently we have the highest resolution, and I killed it.